the Coldplay kiss cam lady has decided to speak out. And the headline is, she's the victim, just in case you didn't know. She's the victim. We made her the victim. She did something very minor that was wrong, but it wasn't really that big. People are nasty and they need to stop harassing her. The only part of that I agree with is people should stop harassing her. Apparently she said some in-person and like nasty writings and so on. That's unnecessary. But the rest of us are fully free to comment on her behavior, and she's going to have to deal with it because it happened on camera and it wasn't well handled. So she has now sat with the New York Times and also with the Telegraph, I think, or no, Times of London, for dueling interviews. She sat for an entire day with the New York Times and Lucy Liu, who writes, about how, Coldplay Kiss Cam HR boss Kristen Cabot on 16 Seconds that ruined her life. And this whole piece is an attempt, I think, to shame us for shaming her and to talk about how she's been sort of slut-shamed, and also to paint it as totally unfair because, according to Kristen Cabot, when she got caught on the kiss cam with her boss of this company, Astronomer, she was head of HR, that her sin was simply, quote, I made a bad decision and had a couple of high noons and danced and acted inappropriately with my boss. And it's not nothing. And I took accountability and I gave up my career for that. That's the price I chose to pay. You did not choose. That it was not your choice. I want my kids to know that you can make mistakes and you can really screw up, but you don't have to be threatened or be killed for them. Well, obviously that last line is true, but she's trying to turn this into like a heroic moment for her. First of all, it's too soon. It's still too fresh on the mind. You have demanded that we restore you to your pedestal in life before we're kind of over what we saw. And second of all, I don't believe you that you were both separated when that happened at all, which seems to be her main defense, Glenn. She says she was separated from her husband. And the reason she recoiled when the spotlight, the kiss cam, was placed on her and this astronomer guy, the CEO, was that her soon-to-be ex-husband was in the audience that night at Coldplay, and she didn't want to humiliate him. And you have to go like halfway into the New York Times article, which is lengthy, before they even mention the fact that her boss was also married. And that was the focus of the outrage. It only came out weeks into it that she too, Kristen Cabot, was also married. And it did come out at that time that they were in some sort of a separation. But the boss was not separated, even though he now claims that he was. I don't believe him for 1 second. What his wife did when the story broke was to take down her socials, to change her last name back to her maiden name immediately on some of her socials. And here's the most telling part. You know what the boss didn't do? His name is Andy Byron. You know what he didn't do when this scandal broke and he was about to get fired and he'd been publicly humiliated? He did not release a statement saying, my wife and I are separated. That is literally all he had to do for me to believe him. But he did not do that. And his wife did not do that. By the way, there are reports that they are together right now. They are still together. So I don't believe that he was separated. I accept that this gal, Kristen Cabot, was. But that was the scandal, that it was a cheating situation as called out by Chris Martin when we all saw their reaction. We should play the video just so we can remind people how it looked. Here it is.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. I'm not quite sure.
They're having an affair or they're very shy. Okay, so your thoughts on Kristen Cabot trying to rehabilitate herself. I don't know how many months is it that happened in July. So 5 months after the event?
I'm a little conflicted on this. I don't know if we see this the same way. I think the thing that was most bothersome was that she's head of HR, and that's a job where you're supposed to be enforcing rules of workplace propriety. And so for all the people who might be having an affair with their boss, to have it be the head of the HR, who a lot of people, like, there are few worse people in general. I don't mean to like overly generalize, but usually like HR managers are the worst. Like those are the people who are just constantly like monitoring you and like pretending they're trying to support you. And in reality, they're really just working for the corporation to protect the corporation against you.
They want to fire you.
So I think a lot of this, for anything, I think a lot of the schadenfreude is from people's experience with HR, and the fact that she was an HR manager. I do think there's a question when there's a married couple and then there's a woman who ends up having sex with the man in that married couple, who actually bears most of the blame in that situation. Like, to me, it has always seemed like the person in the marriage who has promised the fidelity is the one who bears most of the blame, and not the woman who doesn't have a similar commitment. And then, we also have people.
I don't disagree with that. The person who's breaking the vow has to answer to the person they made the vow to. That's really the main sin.
Right. And a lot of times we don't know what's taking place in other people's marriages. I mean, the fact that they are still together might signify that for whatever reason, she, the wife, didn't react in the way that other people reacted on her behalf. And then there's...
Well, why'd she change all her social media then? I mean, she clearly did have a reaction to it.
Right. She was probably embarrassed. Yeah, she was dynamic. And it was a very embarrassing situation. Like, I don't blame her for wanting to distance herself. But the fact that she's still with him, who knows why? And then finally, like, we have a lot of people in exactly. Probably that's one of the reasons. But then there are people in very high political positions that, we elect and that we let lead us these days, who 40 years ago would never have been even remotely conceivably possible. Gary Hart got driven out of, the 1988 race when he was discovered having an affair with Donna Rice. Probably for anyone younger than us, that's old. That's things they've never heard of. And yet, you fast forward it and you have people like Bill Clinton, who gets reelected, and Donald Trump, who has had his own very public adulteries and affairs and overlapping sorts of things.
Totally.
And so it just makes me start to wonder, like, why are we so obsessed with that couple and shaming them when the mores have clearly changed around the people who have a lot more power and influence than they?
Okay, so it's interesting. I mean, like, you're not wrong that they hold women to different standards than they hold men to, like the public. And that's wrong. I mean, a shitty marriage can lead to infidelity on either side. And not to quote Woody Allen, but I am going to quote Woody Allen, who I don't believe did anything to his daughter Dylan at all. These are lies that were made up against him by Mia Farrow, who was trying to manipulate her daughter to avoid losing custody during a divorce and to hurt Woody. But in any event, he did have an affair with and fall in love with and then marry Mia's adopted daughter, Sun Yi, when she was young. She was, 19. The heart wants what it wants. So these two, it is true that couples in bad marriages sometimes make bad decisions. And this only became the public's business because they were caught on the Coldplay kiss cam. I guess what I think they should have done is just come out right away. Like, come out right away and give an interview and don't have even a hint of a tone that you're the victim. Just come out and say, I'm totally humiliated. I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
And she is calling herself out for being the head of HR here. She acknowledges that's bad to be with the head of the company. But I mean, I had a couple of high noons and danced and acted inappropriately with my boss. And it's not nothing. But I mean, come on. Like that, now that is downplaying what happened. And I will tell you, just from talking to other women, they get very angry when they see this kind of thing because they start to picture their own husband up there with another woman. And even though the husband made the vow, they start to think about like, well, who's working against me and how, without thinking about their own role in sending the marriage south to where the husband would be potentially in a position to want to look at another woman, right? And it's like, it raises very complicated feelings for everyone involved.
people look at it through the prism of their own lives and what has either happened in their own lives, what they've done, what their spouse has done, what they fear might happen. And I think that's where that's why some of these things resonate. I guess all I'm saying is that the public morality being imposed on them seems inconsistent for me with the public morality that we've kind of allowed to take root, where we know that a lot of people with a lot of power in politics or in business do this and far worse, and we seem to come to the conclusion as a society that's not our business. Yes.
Let me ask you a question. Is it because of the way they reacted on cam? Like, they telegraphed shame immediately, which is something Trump has never done, right?
Exactly.
I think that changed the way we all felt about it.
I totally agree. Exactly. I think you're absolutely right. I haven't thought about it but I think that's exactly the key to it, is that Chris Martin noticed it right away, right? He said, oh my God, look at how ashamed they are. Like, they must be doing something wrong. So if they react like they're doing something wrong, of course the public is going to say, oh yeah, they've done something wrong. And so I do think that's the part where, like, either you do this behavior and you say, look, this is my life, this is my choice, this is not your business. Or, if you're going to act like you just got caught doing something terribly wrong, don't be surprised when everybody else sees it the same way. And I think that is the key to why that became such a big story. I think you're very right about that.
She's now trying to turn it around into like an example for her children. I don't know. I think leave the kids out of it. Just keep out of it. That's just meant to humanize her in the public's eye. Like, she's trying to play up the death threat she got. She's trying to play up, like, certain people have said something to her, like she alleges at the gas station, some woman was like, oh, how can you live with yourself or whatever. Okay. When you are embroiled in a public scandal, people are going to react. Like, that's modern day America 2025. And for whatever reason, her moment was caught on tape. She's going to have to live with that. There are a lot of politicians that should be getting coal in their stocking for Christmas, but Birch Gold thinks, as a smart planner, you deserve silver. That's why for every $5,000 you purchase between now and December 22nd, Birch Gold will send you an ounce of silver, which is up over 60% this year. See, smart people diversify and have a hedge. That's why you should consider Birch Gold. With the rate cuts from the Fed in 2026, the dollar could be worth less. And what happens if the AI bubble bursts? Consider letting Birch Gold Group help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. And for every $5,000 you buy, you will get an ounce of silver for you or your kids. Just text MK to the number 989898 to claim your eligibility for this offer. Again, text MK to 989898 because Birch Gold's free silver with qualifying purchase promotion ends on December 22nd. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.